Welcome to Coaching Uncovered. I'm Ujjaval Buch, and in this series, I speak with coaches who have walked the path, done the inner work, and now creating real impact. These are the stories of reflection, courage, and impact. I hope they inspire you wherever you are in your journey. And today, I have a pleasure of welcoming Hiral Matalia. She is a professional certified coach and a prolific facilitator. She's into this field for the last 20 years and she's a certified coach since last 10 years. She's the one who has created impact at many different levels, and she's the one whom I know that she's practicing coaching not only in coaching space but also in her facilitation and real life. So welcome, Hiral.
Thank you, Ujjaval. What a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yes, likewise. And let us start in the beginning. If I can ask you, what was happening in your life when coaching first came into the picture for you?
So I believe this is back in 2016, wherein, I was those days only a facilitator. And I vividly remember this client, Linde, where I was facilitating a training workshop, and that's when I met one of the coaches. And I was quite curious, and I inquired with HR as to what do they do. And then I met her and found out, about ICF, about this world of coaching. And I was quite curious. And coincidentally, around the same time, I also happened to get a coaching assignment even before I went for official certification from one of our IT clients. And it was a pretty big one. It was for coaching all the project managers and team leaders. So I thought, this is definitely a sign, and it's a calling. So I took up that assignment, and I also simultaneously enrolled for ICF ACC.
Wonderful.
So that's how.
Wonderful. Yeah. And if I can ask you that you said about ICF certification. So what is the role that certification played in your mind at that time that you decided to go for it? And how it is still being relevant for you?
So I have always, appreciated things that are stamped and documented. Mm-hmm. And this, for one, intrigued me and interested. It got me interested in a more, detailed manner, because I realized that it is not like when you go somewhere, just pay the money and at the end of the workshop just get a stamp, oh, you are NLP certified. This is more around you really knowing the subject, the competencies, you being that person, you showing up as a coach. And I realized that the journey also is pretty long. Like it took me almost 2 to 3 years to do my 100 hours and then, the exam. So yeah. I realized that at least this is a very valuable and a valued accreditation which has to be earned. So that I knew it was a long journey, but I was quite excited because I thought it will definitely make me understand coaching, live it, believe in it inside out, and that is also what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have seen that with you. And when you went through your certification, which is level 1 and then level 2, so what sort of shifts that you have noticed happening inside you during the program?
So to be very honest, level 1, I did go through with 3 years, and this entire assignment also continued for 3 long years when I kept on, coaching. But and then facilitation has been an older thing, and it is a more dominant part of the way, at least what I'm more known for. Yeah. So that used to consume a lot of my time and energy. And then when I decided to move a level up, and that is exactly when the decision happened when COVID happened, and there was a complete standstill related to facilitation, and that's when I got a calling. And in fact, that is the time that I got in touch with you, only to realize that what I thought was coaching or what I was doing, although I did get the accreditation, was actually not really the way coaching should have been done. And then I rediscovered myself during the entire COVID period. Mm-hmm. I decided to do my 500 hours of PCC, and I think you were a great big help there. And that is when I actually internalized, understood, and started believing more in the competencies.
Yeah.
So that is what shifted from ACC to PCC, because that is when I actually felt that I'm able to, stick to the basics, the fundamentals of coaching, the entire modality in a more authentic manner.
Absolutely, and you really practice what you preach, and you really practice what you learn. So if I can ask you, how coaching has helped you in the way you show up in the face of adversities, in times of challenges, how coaching is helping you? In case any example or any learnings that is helping you, would you like to quote?
Honestly, coaching has helped me in many, many ways. In first, of course, it changes you as a person. So I started to reflect upon myself, and I could see a lot of my own flaws which were earlier not clear. So I used all that reflection for myself and started improving my relationship. And one of the litmus test was my relationship with my son, because before coaching happened to me, I was like a conventional mother who was always in the advising mode, and I realized that there was a lot of distance between me and my son. Although, I mean, there was closeness, but there was still a kind of a distance wherein he would just not open up, and every conversation would end in an altercation or some kind of an argument, and we would just shut off from there. But then when coaching happened, and until about then, my husband wasn't into coaching, so he was still into that saying, do this, don't do this, wake up early, go to bed early kind of a zone. But because I realized, I slowly started asking questions, advising less, or in fact almost went down to say almost zero, and I started noticing shifts in his behavior and in our relationship. So that was the very first experience that happened at home for me. And until about then, of course, along with this assignment, I had also gotten a few more wherein we had integrated training and coaching. So I saw those shifts happen in some of my coachees, wherein they also had an aha and a breakthrough moment. And the adversity, I should say, was more around the process that was explained and the contracting that was done. But then when it really came in for people to live up to that contracting, say we contract for 9 months, and somewhere some clients lost patience. There was a lot of attrition, IT being IT. So for all those people who had built a rapport and things were happening, they decided to move. Then the new ones came in. Then their conviction in the process of coaching from the client who was paying for they started expecting results. And like in coaching, we don't really guarantee the results. We facilitate and we create a safe space. So those were the times when I initially, because those are also my earlier assignments, was taken aback and a little insecure about whether I should get into advising, counseling, anything and just retain the client, or should I stick to the core coaching competencies even if I need to let go of the client. And that was a huge dilemma, and those were the times when I was a little shaky. I still chose to do what the right thing to do is. And but then it wasn't really easy to convince. Today I'm more confident and I can say straight up in the face, that take it or leave it. But back then that was an adversity.
So what was one thing that kept you going? You could have easily slipped into the revenue generating mechanism,
Right.
But you held on to your ethics, your integrity, even ICF code of ethics. So what is that one thing that you chose not to go to that slippery way?
I think it's the sheer passion for this particular modality, because I realized that with facilitation you can only go so far. But coaching is very internal, it's very one-on-one, it's very personalized, it's very different kind of an experience for each individual. And it's only through coaching that real transformation can happen. I mean, of course, facilitation can also support it, but I realized that pure facilitation cannot lead to that kind of a magical, insightful transformation, although externally things may or may not look that way.
Yeah.
But so that is, I think, when that started happening for me as a person and for my coaches, that was a very big aha moment, saying that, okay, I think this aligns with how I want to, when I leave this world, at least the people that I have been in touch with should have experienced this shift, then I will feel that I have lived a good life.
Wow. That is very, very interesting. And yes, absolutely. So, when you go through these journeys, when you work with different clients, so what sort of tools, techniques, methods, models generally you rely upon, or you have a very customized approach that you pick up what works for the client? But generally, if you have to share with experienced coaches who might be watching this, that what are some of your favorite tools or techniques that you rely upon?
So that's really an interesting one, because I think I'm currently at about, I think, 800, 850 hours, I've not counted, but for this entire duration, there has not been a particular methodology that I definitely stick to, but then there are patterns that I see which have emerged.
Yeah.
And I try to stick to the competencies, holding the space, listening, building trust, holding the client accountable, challenging assumptions.
Yeah.
So those are the fundamental things that I always keep in mind at the base level. But the conversations are generally, I allow them to flow in the moment. However, a lot of times, I take help of some psychometric tools which really come in handy, and especially when it is through the corporates, and when there is a three-way conversation, when the corporates have a very specific expectation from those high potential leaders to scale up, then we are working on some specific competencies. So for those cases, I've noticed that when we take help of a very reliable tool, like a scientific tool, whether it is Thomas Kilmann or it is Mercer Metal or it is MBTI, it gives us a very good starting point, and it is more or less something that even the coaches say, yeah, if this has come through to a test, that I'm not very approachable, I'm very controlling, then that who will bell the cat thing diffuses, because they themselves get into that zone.
Yeah.
And on the other days, I guess a lot of these tools like appreciative inquiry, which is always there, which I hold on to very strongly. I believe in it very strongly. I use Barrett's. I use maybe sometimes the results pyramid, and so many other concepts. Empty chair of Gestalt has really helped me to help and facilitate my clients to see the perspective of the other person who's involved in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
So I've been able to integrate some of these, but it's still work in progress, I can say.
Yeah. So these days, what are you learning? What are you investing into?
So very honestly, Ujjaval, you already know that I am also getting credentialing for ACTC, which is team coaching, and with you and with Kucharya and the entire gamut of things. And unfortunately, although I teach time management, and this is almost like in contrast to what I preach, but I have been putting this on back burner for some reasons that I don't want to really give excuses to, but somehow there is procrastination. So ACTC, I've been trying to, because team coaching also integrates very well with what I do. So that is something that is ongoing for sure. And over and above that, I have not picked up any other major certification, but I've been following Huberman with Andrew Huberman Lab and a few other such renowned courses. Following just one person in more depth rather than going all over the place. And that is really helping me also. But yes, in terms of certification, it's ACTC, which is, I think the deadline is August, and I hope I'm able to.
I'm sure. I'm sure you will. Yeah. Also, Hiral, like you wrote just today on LinkedIn that the key decisions you have been able to make, like for example, investing on your health, your wellness.
Yes.
It is something which is very, very difficult for thing to do, to not indulge into, those calorie packed foods and all. So how, coaching approach has helped you to regulate your own self and manage your emotions, manage your wellness, fitness, etc.?
In fact, I would give all the credit to coaching in for this particular dimension of my life, which was, always haywire, and I would just put it on genetics or the fact that my mom and dad are also plump and all. But I think the moment, again, I was open to seeing my flaws, I realized that it was me, obviously, who was at the epicenter of, allowing myself to take certain liberties earlier on. And then this very strong inner calling about, what vision of health, like what version of me do I see, in future. And I realized, oh my God, I have very compelling dreams of, maybe climbing the Kilimanjaro and the base camp and cycling for 100 kilometers. And so that is the kind of life that I aspire to live. And if that is what I want to do, then my current health and my weight and my blood reports were not aligning to where I really want to be. And that is where slowly I began this journey. And I think it's been a game changer, I can say. Fortunately, also my husband, who's a health coach, and also a doctor. So, getting those real good technical understanding around how to do things. But most importantly, the inner desire to binge itself has disappeared. So it is not as if that I really crave to eat that cheesecake or that pastry, which is otherwise, I really don't crave it. And I have started having tea without sugar, which I think is the biggest breakthrough of my life, because being good juice, being like chai has been the partner for life, and then having that tea or shifting to black coffee as a lifestyle. And it is, I think this has even more difficult than clearing a PCC for me, if you ask me personally, because it's not easy for me to not have sugar, but it is just like, how it is just naturally being left behind. Having said that, still there are certain days where maybe I would be okay to try something, but it is really, I would say, 5% of what it used to be. And every morning I just wake up as a ritual, I wear my shoes and I'm out. I don't think I've missed a single day, including the Saturdays and Sundays. I think in the past 4 months, except maybe when I was traveling, I've not missed a day.
Wow, that's amazing, and I can see that sparkles in your eyes, and that reminds me of the father of our modern day coaching, Timothy Galloway. He talks about the inner game, right?
Inner game of
unless you win that inner game, it is very difficult to win outer game.
Absolutely.
So, Hiral, like I tell new aspirants who are looking to enter this coaching journey, they want to make a difference to others. And I always, tell them that at least for the first level of certification, do not think of joining to make a difference to others. First, see if it makes a difference to yourself, right? And unless these tools, techniques, methods, models work on yourself, it is difficult that it will work on others. So you being a very experienced coach and quite a well-known coach, so if you have to advise to someone who is considering to join this coaching profession, because this world needs coaching and coaches more than ever before. So what would you tell them who are still into to be or not to be state?
So that's really quite tricky, because I know there are all kinds of people who are aspiring. But what I would definitely say is, like you rightly said, the world definitely needs more coaches. And I also feel the corporates need to shift their focus for coaching only for the C-suite or the CXOs. Or I think everybody across the board should be eligible within their whatever budget that they have, should get. Everyone needs a coach, a mentor in life to move, to climb the steps. Without that, one is lost. And nobody is there to show you the mirror. So I would say to all these aspiring coaches that take a plunge with faith, without any big expectations in terms of, especially in terms of getting a certain kind of business or client, because then that would be very short-sighted. But like you rightly mentioned, what it will make of you. Like I feel that had coaching not happened to me, a lot of amazing things and who I am today would have been very different, because I would perhaps never have explored those dimensions which coaching allowed me to think deeper and address, the dark side of me.
Yeah.
Which would never have just come out.
Yes.
So I guess if they are onto a journey of first self-transformation and then figuring out their niche, like how my husband found his calling in health coaching, I think if they give it some time and stay committed to the process, the best is still to come. I see good, amazing 10 years for coaching, for India, for the entire, not just India, for the way the coaching is growing world over, and how we coach anywhere in the world nowadays. Like I've been working with United Nations, coaching them through Unlock. So there are so many such avenues also that are open. But then you have to have that belief, and this cannot be just the only thing that you are clinging on to right now. So that is the other thing. If they feel that, oh, this is the only thing that is there for me, then they should be mindful that this will take some time.
Right.
Yeah, so that is what I would say.
Yeah, sure. Wonderful. I think very, very insightful conversation with you, Hiral.
Absolutely, Ujjaval.
And thank you for joining today. And we really look forward to having more wisdom from you for the coaches who are newly certified, who are thinking to get certified, and those who are already certified.
Yes. Thank you, Ujjaval. It's been an immense pleasure. It always is. And I wish all of those aspiring coaches also very well. I think, like I said, the best is still to come.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.